You've come a long way, baby, and what a ride it's been. The University of Wisconsin at Whitewater, DCI's answer to baseball's Cooperstown. This is where that first DCI championship played out 25 years ago. If you listen closely, you may hear the ghosts of DCI's first champion, the Anaheim Kingsmen, warming up behind the stands. Competitive drum corps was straining to break out of the box in the early 70s, ready to free itself of the restrictive rules set by the American Legion and VFW posts that gave it birth.
And we had a group of competitive units that wanted to compete against each other all the time and wanted to play by our own rules, the rules that we made. And we used to submit recommendations to the American Legion, and they frequently denied them or rejected them. So we got together and said it's time to control our own destiny.
We all realized, both Eastern and Midwestern group, that we had to put something together that was permanent, something that would be equitable to both sides of the fence, meaning the Midwest and the East Coast area drum corps. And we sat down and we put this monster thing together called Drum Corps International.
And so the activity evolved as corps pushed the creative envelope in all captions throughout the 70s. A corps from Massachusetts unveiled an angular drill and put the color guard front and center. A corps from New Jersey brought comedy to the field and showbiz to the drum line with a drop-dead style. A classy corps from California set a new technical standard for horn lines. In fact, the California corps had the others feeling blue with their early dominance and balanced strength. The Devils and Vanguard won 6 titles between them in the 70s. It was an amazing era, says DCI founding father Don Warren.
It was very exciting and very interesting to see it not only start, but to grow. And it did grow. It grew very fast.
The 80s brought more changes. The newly created sideline percussion pit began to resemble something you'd see in a concert hall. Our bugles went from one horizontal valve to a horn with 2 vertical valves. Color guards took on their own unique look. Uniforms became costumes. And flags and rifles gave way to some very intriguing props. An old corps from Jersey learned some new tricks as they redefined the term marching music with amoebic mastery and set the pace for others to follow. The cadets were the signature corps of the 80s with their 4 championships. A new super corps and future champion from Indiana hit the scene like a starburst. While a longtime favorite from Illinois kept coming so close, but with a Wagnerian flair for the dramatic, always ended up the bridesmaid. And the men of Madison, well, they simply stayed the course, adding athletic fireworks to raw power and winning their 2nd championship. The 90s would usher in a controversial clash of creativity. Total show and program flow was the mantra as the Cavaliers took us to the planets, mixing geometric precision with grace and style, winning championships in '92 and '95. Star of Indiana took the title in '91 and then went further out on that cutting edge, ultimately leaving the competition field altogether and pioneering an indoor musical art form called brass theater. The Phantom Regiment finally did win that elusive DCI World Championship, but they did it the hard way, ending up in a first-ever tie at the top with the Blue Devils in '96. Ah, the Devils. Through it all, they've made the evolution with stunning efficiency and effectiveness. Despite a trip to the dark side, the Devils have won a record 8 championships since it all began in '72. There have been so many changes these last 25 years. Our bugles now have 3 valves. The percussion section now has all the bells and whistles, literally. The color guard has become a visual ensemble, often resembling a ballet troupe. But one thing remains the same. The goosebumps that come when a corps creates a moment of sheer musical magic out on that field.
Hello there. I'm Gene Rayburn, and tonight, along with my sweet wife Helen here, hello, darling.
Game show host Gene Rayburn got us off and running on PBS, hosting the 76 show from Philadelphia. I took over the DCI air chair in Birmingham in 79, paired with Judge Wapner's future sidekick on People's Court, Jim Peck, and jazz trumpet great Maynard Ferguson. I gave Maynard a horn in the middle of the show.
I'm not blowing this one. You're on your own.
Or whatever.
How come everybody's coming up here to the box? We've got such a crowd that just gathered. We got flash bulbs going off. People are cheering.
In 80, we were teamed with legendary actress Rita Moreno. A wonderfully enthusiastic lady, Rita loved what she saw.
Watch it. It interests the Rita Morenos who watch it for the first time and say, hey, that's a gas. I'd like to see that again.
That's why I thought, well, you can't go by me. How did the judge? Because sometimes judges hate being manipulated. With things of this nature or theatrical things, I love being manipulated. That's okay.
In 83, I was teamed with Broadway choreographer Pat Birch and Grammy-winning jazz man Chuck Mangione.
Chuck, this is your first competition, right?
That's right. I'm thrilled to be here. You know, I'm getting goosebumps just listening to these people playing in the background. And I never thought of music as being competitive, so it's going to be an interesting evening for me. I know everybody who's here tonight is really a winner. You know, when you get down to the last 12, it's like getting a Grammy nomination. You've already won, and these people should be proud of what they're doing, and I'm looking forward to hearing the music they're going to make.
As we moved into the 90s, we focused on drum corps as competitive musical sports with the American sportsman himself, Kurt Gowdy.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kurt Gowdy. What's a sportscaster doing here? Well, this is a World Championship competition, and I've been a Drum and Bugle Corps fan for a long time.
Then came our present team, battle-scarred drum corps veterans all, offering our own unique blend of highbrow commentary. From a stadium parking lot to the hallowed Met, from the field to the studio, drumming your way to Broadway, or hanging with Dave and the gang. These old drum corps guys are doing okay. Jeff Kivett riveted audiences as a soloist for the Hawthorne Muchachos in the early 70s. He proudly donned the uniform again for DCI's silver anniversary ceremony. The face has a few more wrinkles, the bugle is now a trumpet, but the musical passion still runs deep. Instead of fields and stadiums, it's studios and stages now, producing music for and playing with the likes of Vanessa Williams. Jeff Kivett says he owes it all to drum corps, even when sitting in the producer's chair.
So where did I learn how to do this? And I just laughed and I thought about how many other people, either Broadway conductors or I could handle all the information that I'm processing at this moment. And I laughed. I was at a loss to think of people that I really could count on to do it. And I realized that I learned everything I needed to know to be successful at what I'm doing, the producing, the clinics, the instruction, the performance, everything I needed to know, I had the opportunity to learn from my experience with the Hawthorne Muchachos.
This is where trumpet player Peter Bond works, New York's Metropolitan Opera. That is, most of the time. Here's where Peter likes to spend his summers, giving back to the Phantom Regiment where he cut his musical teeth in the mid-70s. Drum corps training has helped Peter make it in the highly competitive world of classical music.
My drum corps experience paid off in some kind of oblique ways. I mean, it's not Tanglewood, it's not a musical conservatory, and I didn't go to conservatories, yet at the auditions, I prevailed over a lot of my competitors because I had this bulldog-like tenacity that I got from drum corps, which means you practice and you practice and you practice until you get it, and you don't stop until you get it. And I really think that has made a tremendous difference. And so there's a certain amount of perfectionism, or if you will, commitment to excellence.
Bayonne's Bridgman turned out some fantastic drum lines in the late 70s and early 80s. Tommy Igoe's hands were flying in the tenor section, learning techniques that serve him well today.
Rudimentally, drum corps is, without a doubt, the most demanding thing a drummer can do.
Tommy is presently playing with Disney's Lion King as they hone the show for Broadway.
The similarities between putting a drum corps show together and a Broadway show together are unbelievably similar. There's a lot of tweaking, there's a lot of experimentation, there's like this, hate that, move this, do that. Boy, it sounds very familiar, let me tell you. It sounds like it could be 15 and it's 110 in Alabama and in the middle of a parking lot.
A few blocks from Broadway, former Garfield cadet Al Chez toils nightly on national TV. He's Paul Schaefer's trumpet man in the David Letterman Band. Guess where Chez built up his chops?
The drum corps experience is there's not many activities that you can get the feeling that you get from drum and bugle corps. There's, you know, just the applause factor, the people that appreciate what you're doing, the feeling of being part of a group or a whole striving for the same perfection. It's a beautiful thing. You can't, the only way to describe it is by doing it.
Once the corporate world discovered stock car racing, NASCAR took off in a big way. The effect is a bit more subtle in DCI, but some big names in corporate America are revving up their relationship with drum corps. It's no accident that the World Championships have landed in Orlando, the home of Walt Disney World. Disney helps host and stage the week-long event. The parade at Epcot and showcase of talent are special Disney-produced elements. The Disney hand is also evident around the Citrus Bowl, turning the competition into a festive event. Drum corps fans and DCI benefit, and so does Disney.
What's in it for Disney is an opportunity to work with youth and an opportunity to further the arts. It's an art form that Disney doesn't do. We don't do corps at Disney, but it gives us the chance to do something and to participate in something that has a value, an entertainment value, first off. And that's what Disney does, creativity, entertainment, the sheer magnitude of watching a finals event is exciting.
IBM's involvement is very different. IBM and drum corps? Yes, indeed. Most visibly, IBM is producing this telecast for DCI and PBS. IBM has also designed and set up DCI's new computer website on the internet. And Big Blue is responsible for the distribution and sale of DCI merchandise, from T-shirts to videotapes. It's an interesting bit of diversification for IBM.
IBM gets the opportunity to bring all of the services together. They're able to test some of the new technologies. They're able to take and work with DCI. DCI is very, very innovative in a lot of ways because they're looking to the future. They're trying to say, how do we meet the needs of the next generation? And guess what? That's what our business is about. So working with DCI, we can look at ways to utilize technology, like what we did with our internet, and cybercasting the event to people who couldn't be there around the world. So that gave us a unique opportunity to test some things out.
While the Disney and IBM connections are relatively new, DCI has long had a special relationship with music companies. Instrument makers Yamaha and Pearl have invested on a corporate sponsorship level. They see the good PR value in the high-profile support of such a unique youth activity. But there's some marketing wisdom here, too.
It gives us product awareness and lends some good credibility to the product. The drum corps are like the Samsonite test for the suitcases. If the product can hold up to what they do with it every summer, then it'll definitely handle anything a high school could throw at it.
Yamaha's philosophy is to produce instruments that are made for the enjoyment of life, for the enrichment of life. And so really our tie-in with Drum Corps International is really a perfect fit. The musical instruments and the ability to look at this activity as very much an educational sense. Many of these kids that are involved in the activity are going to go on and become music educators, future music educators, and so we find tremendous value as far as our involvement with Yamaha and the association with Drum Corps International.
To that end, many companies have entered into separate promotional deals with individual drum corps. Cymbals to marching shoes, these companies are finding that it pays to have a drum corps endorsement. So what's next? Well, who knew where corporate involvement would eventually steer NASCAR? Who knows where it may ultimately steer DCI?